Well, good morning and welcome to Zen Fits. I don't know why I come here every morning. I'm sharing with you my own adventure into consciousness, into our mind. How does this, the other day I talked about the computer as being a expression or a material form of the mind, because the mind created it. And when we get trapped in computer problems, as I often do, it's pretty much a metaphor for our own mind, where whatever you do, you screwed up. So it's a damned if you do and damned if you don't. And the more you try to fix it, the worse the problem gets, until finally you have to either get rid of the computer or wipe the whole thing clean and start over, or whatever, But anyway, I don't want to get back in the computer, but basically, I come here to share with you what I discover, what I am obsessed with, not because, it's just my intention is to understand how my own mind works. And we all have the same mind. Different, it's like we all have the same computer, different content, different data we store, but the thing works the same way. So if you understand your mind and how it works, you understand mind. And you get closer to understanding why we suffer. Why we suffer. That's the big question. Why me? I did everything right. Why do things fall apart? I have all the insurance, everything, I did everything right. Why do things fall apart? Why do we suffer? Why do we have to die? Why do we lose? Why is there grief? Why is there loss? You see, all these questions, we really don't like to go there. We don't like to ask these questions because we're afraid. And so, but I do this. So in the morning, I come up with a different a metaphor or idea strikes me, and bam, I want to put it up here and look into it, and pull this cotton ball apart. So what I want to look at today is try to find a good metaphor for why we have arguments with ourselves and with other people. And a cup is a good metaphor to work with as the mind. So if you have a good metaphor, you can get hold of something that has no form. See, the mind has no form. It's only expressed. We can only understand and work with form. But how do you work with something that doesn't have any form? So anyway, we'll use a cup. So you take a cup. It's a whole cup. You got the inside and you got the outside. They're different, but you can't separate them. If you separate it, you break the cup. You lose the wholeness. So this is really a metaphor for the mind, because there's an inside of the mind and an outside of the mind. They're different, but you can't separate them. Now, what is the inside of the mind? Well, the inside, I haven't got this up yet, but the inside of the mind is me. Me is the center of the world. Each of us is a me that looks out on the world from a center. You see? So you look out from this center, it's called a subject or an I, and you look out and everything is the other. Everything is the outside of the cup. So me is the center, the subject, and then you have the other, it. It could be, it is a person, it's a lamp, this is a cup, or it could be a thought or an emotion. That's an it. If I'm conscious of it, it's an it. So the it is either inside, a feeling, I feel my hand, I feel this is an it, I feel something, or I see something and I feel it, I feel this cup is an it. You see, there's two its right here. There's the cup is an it, and yet I can feel the sensation of the cup. That's an it too. So there's like the inside it's of my body senses, and then there's the outside, but it's still it. The me is not seen. The me is the seer. So that's the inside. And then you have the outside is all this it, you see. So what happens when we have a dilemma? Now a dilemma is when the cup gets split, but it can't be split. When the inside gets separated from the outside. So suppose you are with a friend. Let's take this as you're with a friend, or on Facebook, anywhere. You're in a conversation, and the conversation goes like, "I'll tell you about what's bothering me," or "I'll speak. I'm the me, and you are the it. You listen." And then the cycle, then you get to talk, your me gets to express itself, and I get to listen. So in a friendship, in a conversation, there is this cycle of inside and outside. And it creates the relationship becomes a whole cup. You see that? In other words, the inside and the outside of me becomes the inside and outside of a relationship. And then there is a pleasant exchange or an agreement to cycle inside and outside. So there is no tension building up. Tension builds up when the inside and the outside can't cycle and get stuck. So let's take a conversation then. Suppose your neighbor's dog comes over and digs up all your flowers. So now you're going to have a conversation with your neighbor. Now, how is that going to be different from the conversation you just had with a friend? Still two people, you see. So now you're going to confront the neighbor, and you feel tension building up already. You don't, I got to go tell him about that dog, but I cannot predict tension, okay? So you go talk to the neighbor, and so you accuse the neighbor of whatever it is. But now you don't have a dialogue with a friend. Now you have an argument. Now what is the argument? That is two me's refusing to give way. My me said, "Will you listen to me?" And the other one says, "No, you listen to me." So now you have two me's, and there's no yielding. There's no dialogue. There's no yielding of the me and the other, the inside and the outside. So each one gets stuck on the inside. So now you got two insides. You see this? Now you got two insides refusing to yield to the other. And this, you can feel the tension building. Boom, 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 you see. And one person has to either give or you're going to have a fight. So one person may say, "Oh, okay, I quit, I can't," and you just turn away and go away. But now you've got an inner monologue going. Now you've got the conversation going on in a dialogue inside, trying to heal the wound with thought, you see. Because the conversation, the meeting with the neighbor didn't heal. It just kicked it down the road. Now you got it inside. Now you go see a friend and tell him all about this nasty neighbor. And the friend heals you, tries to heal you by listening, and then there's an agreement, well then maybe they'll tell you about their nasty neighbor. So now you exchange nasty neighbors, you see, in a futile attempt to heal this wound. But what is the wound, And then why does Christ say, well, love your enemy, love your neighbor? What is he saying there? What does that mean? I can't love my neighbor. I have a feeling of anger towards my neighbor. So even trying to love my neighbor creates a wound. Because I can't do it, but I should do it. So let's look how. So basically, the dilemma. The dilemma is when you have a choice, two choices, and both of them are yes, or both of them have equal value. So you can't choose one and leave the other one. So it's kind of like this dilemma is when you have to choose the outside or the inside, and either choice will destroy the cup. And the cup is you. So either choice will destroy your wholeness. And the threat to our wholeness, our integrity, the threat to our one, being one, you see, is the wound of human consciousness. This dilemma, the dilemma happens when we are confronted with two choices, and neither choice can be chosen without splitting ourselves. So this external world of the external choice, like, well, take abortion. Abortion is a choice that is wounding our nation. We can't find a creative solution to it, so we just keep kicking it down the road. And for the woman, she may say, I really cannot have, I don't want the baby, and yet I should have the baby. So what should I do? So this divides her into a split self. So how do we get out? There's two ways we're going to get out of these dilemmas of the split cup. One way, which we'll look at later, is the creative way, but the most common way is the violent way. And the violent solution is where we suppress or remove one of the choices. So if this is a dilemma with the neighbor, between me and the neighbor, me and the other, the way to get out of the pain of the split cup is to eliminate the neighbor. Make the neighbor wrong and me right, you see. And of course he's going to do the same thing. He's going to make himself right and me wrong. So there is, but each is trying to escape the tension of the split cup when I'm split. You see, when we're split and we can't be cycle between inside and outside. If you so the cycle would be, the way consciousness works is that there's the inside and the outside. If you remember the picture of the old woman or the young woman, if you choose the inside, the outside will, you can't hold the inside because the outside will begin to appear. And then if you hold the outside, the inside. So consciousness is going to cycle back and forth. But it can't be inside-outside. It's going to be, I'm looking at the outside of the cup, now I'm looking at the inside. Now I look at the outside, now I look at the inside. So we're going to be cycling back and forth. But if the cycle stops and you get stuck on one, a tension happens inside. So this tension, you would feel like when you go to confront the neighbor or the boss. You can feel that tension, that expectation of the arousal of this wound. We fear the wound is going to be coming up. So we spend most of our life, you see, trying to cover this wound up. But certain situations arouse the wound, and now we get caught in a tension where we cannot cycle the two parts of our consciousness. What are the two parts of our consciousness? Now this is, I'm sorry, this is really such a deep subject, and I've been spending my whole life working on it, so how can I explain it in 20 minutes, you see? So we really do it like Mr. Coffee and just do a couple of drips a day. So I do hope you come back. So the basic split in our consciousness is between me, the inside, and the outside, which I say is the other, or the other part of me. So just keep that idea going of that consciousness works with an inside and outside. It's two, but it cannot be split. Yet it has to be one. So when the split comes, when we become aware of this wound, this split, is when situations arise in which we can't make a clear and distinct choice. It's like I'm damned if I do and damned if I don't. And these situations arise all the time. I keep talking about when I go to Walmart with my wife's shopping list, and there may be some ambiguity on the list where I don't know which one to choose. So whichever one I choose, I fear I'm going to be wrong. And guilt and shame will rise. So the way we usually get out of this situation is that we will choose a savior or a tech support or somebody who can choose for us. My father, when he was in his later years, he had a stroke and he could not make choices. So he would go to the restaurant and my mother would give him a menu and say, what would you like? And he would say, you choose. Okay, so this is why we create saviors or tech supports or authorities who can choose for us to get us out of the dilemma where we can't choose. Or we use moralism. Moralism is a way to get out of this double bind by eliminating one choice and say that's morally wrong. So yes, I won't have an abortion because it's morally wrong, and yet my nature wants the abortion. So I get out of it by suppressing nature and choosing the morally right one. So moralism then is a way of getting out of double bind where you have two equal choices. You make one of them morally wrong. Problem solved. And yet this just kicks what all of these violent solutions do is kick the dilemma down the road, and it comes up in a new form. And abortion is a great example of this, and please don't get it, we're not getting into a discussion on abortion. But if you notice, abortion has been kicked down the road through every political cycle. You see, there's no solution to it. So it just gets, every new political cycle has a new dilemma. A new generation has the dilemma. So these dilemmas in history, we can notice, just get kicked down from one generation to the next. You deal with it. You see, climate change is another one. I've got to give up my comfort? Yeah, I've got to give up my fossil fuel and my cars and all of my comfort that the fossil fuels have given? I can't give up that. But the other one says, yes, you must, because that our very comfort is going to make us uncomfortable. Which do you choose? Both, you choose one or the other, you're still going to be uncomfortable. You can't get out of not choosing uncomfortable. Whichever one you go, so that's a dilemma. So it just gets kicked down. Nobody finds a resolution, a creative solution to it. So I guess what I'm pointing out here, struggling with, is that at the basis of all of our dilemmas and our karma is basically the movie Groundhog Day, where you just keep doing the same thing over and over again in different situations. So karma is where you you never resolve the dilemma, you just kick it down the road and it comes up again in a new form. And you think you're seeing it for the first time, but it's yesterday's dilemma. And most of our lives are spent kicking our dilemmas down the road and seeing them for the first time and saying, oh my God, where'd this come from? Well, it came from yesterday. You didn't restore the cup yesterday. So you still got this split cup you got to deal with today. So there's a fundamental, I think the point is that if we can understand the fundamental operating system here, the fundamental dilemma, we don't get caught up in the illusion that It's somebody else that's causing it. My neighbor created the dilemma. Or somebody, or you, I'm hurt. The basic formula here for this dilemma is that I hurt and you caused it. As soon as that idea comes up, we're in this fundamental schism of our own consciousness, this fundamental split in the cup. Me hurts and you, or the outside of the cup, caused it. You see what I mean? So what the mind does is project our basic cup of consciousness into the world so that I'm the inside and you're the outside of the cup. And so when as the inside of the cup, when I hurt, you as the outside of the cup are causing my inside to hurt, you see. But it's one cup. You see? So this is called illusion. This is called Maya. This is what all of the pundits and all the authorities and religious teachers are talking about, the illusion of appearances, the illusion of the world. It's the illusion, the trance or the spell that consciousness creates in order to avoid its own truth, its own true nature. And so it splits itself into I'm a me, and the outside of me is the other, and the other is causing me to hurt, you see. Now I've got to get out of the pain by removing the outside of me. So the inside of the cup tries to get out of the pain by removing or making the outside of the cup bad. And so this is why Jesus simply says, love your enemy. Well, what he's saying is, the inside of the cup should love the outside of the cup in order to be healed as one cup. So, but we can't do that because we have deluded ourselves into thinking that the outside of my mind is out there and I'm separate from it. You see? But awakening is when you realize that there is no separation. The inside and the outside is one cup. The inside of me and the outside world is one me, one world. And this is a realization. This is a, wow, this is an awakening. And then when that awakening happens, the outside and the inside come back together. One cup. One cup, you see. And this is the Holy Grail. You see, one cup. And this is what Zen is about. One taste, one cup. Satori. Aha, I see that I am one with the world. In the world, I am the world and the world is me. Yet at the same time, I got a neighbor whose dog eats my flowers and I got to go talk to him. You see. But the fundamental healing is that primarily, fundamentally, essentially, at ground zero, I am one cup. And then from there, I can use my cup to drink and to give drinks to other people. You see. So anyway, I hope I didn't terribly confuse everybody today. So that's what I said. My talks are kind of like Mr. Coffee. It takes forever for the coffee cup, for the coffee to be made. So it's a drip. And I hope you come in tomorrow for another cup. And I'll see you at martini time this evening.